Everyone who's trying to lose weight thinks that the goal is to see a lower number on the scale. And you think that, right? And you're like, yes, that is literally it. You just described it, but it's not. And here's why. I'll read the email to you. All right, we're back. Back for another episode number 1043. I have no idea what number we're on. But with this episode, I just sent out an email to my mailing list the week ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that. When you're watching this episode, since it's episode 1043, this will be far, far back in the past. But to this point, when I'm recording this, I had sent out this email to my mailing list, and I thought it was a banger, because it was about taking a different perspective on weight loss itself, because that's what I mostly help people with. I help people lose weight in like a totally different approach than just here's your meal plan, here's your training plan. It's different from what you did before, so try this. It's way different than that. It's focusing on underlying habits, mindset stuff, perspective on food, perspective on the scale, perspective about yourself. And when we shift those things, the weight loss problem that most people come to me, they have this weight loss problem, and it typically is no longer a problem. We deal with it once and for all, and they get off this yo-yo diet train that they've been riding most of their life of losing weight, gaining weight, losing weight, gaining weight, because they're not dealing with the root issue. So that's what I deal with mostly, is helping people with that and making that weight loss problem essentially go away permanently. And we do that by giving them the skills and the strategies that they need to handle eating healthy in a normal way, and changing a lot of their expectations and perspectives around the struggles that kind of go into that. That being said, that was kind of the reason for for this email. And I'm going to read this email, and I would love to get your thoughts on it. So if you could leave a comment below after I kind of go through this, and give me kind of your thoughts, because maybe you've considered this in the past, but if I'm being honest, I hadn't really, and I'm kind of in this world pretty deep. But if you disagree, that would be awesome. I'd love to hear from you. If you agree, that would be great as well. But I'd love to get other people's takes on this. Because this is something that I've kind of been working through in my own head while I'm working with my clients on this stuff. And I realized that there's a big mistake. And I made this mistake as a coach. And I see this mistake in my clients that are trying to lose weight. And that weight loss mistake is everyone thinks that everyone who's trying to lose weight thinks that the goal is to see a lower number on the scale. And you think that, right? And you're like, yes, that is literally it. You just described it, but it's not. And here's why. I'll read the email to you. So again, it appears to be true what I just said, right? If the goal is to lose weight, then the goal by extension would be to see a lower number on the scale. And this would appear to be true, but is wrong. Here's why. The actual goal is every single thing that you would get from the weight loss. So I'll give you some examples of that. Examples of goals that you would, or here's what I would say. Some examples that you would achieve by losing weight, and then therein could become the actual goals are these things. Fit into clothes that you love. Feel confident in your body. Love how you look. Less self-conscious in pictures. Better intimacy with your partner. Better sleep. better energy, better self-image, better nutrition routine, better example for your kids, better relationship with food, better blood pressure, better insulin sensitivity, better hormonal function, proof that you can do hard things. These are all things that happen when we lose weight. So to me, the goal isn't weight loss in and of itself. The goal is always what the weight loss provides. Like, why do we want to lose weight? Because just being lighter doesn't really, in isolation, doesn't mean anything unless we know what it means, unless there's some things that being lighter and being leaner would provide. So these things that I listed, they are some, but not all, of the actual goals. This is kind of my argument here. The goal is not weight loss itself. Weight loss is simply a tool to get those benefits. When the scale goes down over time, it is simply a reflection of the choices you made on the previous days and weeks. So the number we get on the scale is information that tells us if our current choices are in alignment with what we are trying to attain. Example, see the list of benefits above that I just said. That's it, really. This is a very important concept to consciously understand and consistently remind yourself throughout the entire weight loss process. I've heard many clients tell me this specific thing. Quote, my goal this week or month is to lose X amount of pounds or X number on the scale. Super, super common. I've heard this many, many times, and I'm sure I'll hear it many more times in the future. This is a bad idea. Very flawed perspective. This will lead you to a place of frustration. I can guarantee you that because it implies that the goal is a certain number, not the actual life-changing benefits you want from it. Because if you want to lose 50 pounds in order to play with your kids without getting tired and fit into pants from college, then maybe we can do that after you hit 40 pounds. We don't actually know for sure. But if you lose 40 pounds and achieve those benefits you initially wanted, would you call that a failure since you didn't hit your quote goal of losing 50 pounds? I'm assuming you wouldn't. In fact, I'm sure you wouldn't. That would be a clear and obvious success, right? Everyone would be like, no, that's a win. I did it, right? This isn't to say that setting weight loss goals are a bad idea necessarily. I do that with all my clients who are looking to achieve some of the benefits I previously listed. We all call it a goal, but really it's a target for when we predict those benefits that we're actually after will occur. But it's important to understand that the actual goals are what the weight loss results in, not the weight loss itself. This is kind of the takeaway here. Hitting X number on the scale means absolutely nothing in isolation. It only means something because of the information it tells us and how your life improves from it. Without a clear, realistic, and true vision of what the goal is, you'll probably be left frustrated a lot more than you should be. Keep the goal the goal. So hopefully that kind of hit home. I know that's kind of like a different take on a little bit of a maybe even a contradiction to in some ways in there. But I thought that is an important perspective shift, which I'm sure it's not perfect, but it's an important shift to make because, again, it's like I mentioned it here. It's like I've had so many clients tell me, especially after like a week or two of frustration when they're not seeing the results they want, usually on the scale. And then they tell me, my goal this week is to lose this much weight. And I find myself more and more now gently pushing back on that and being like, let's not make a number on the scale the goal. Let's make the goal things that are actually within our control. Because I can't make that number on the scale go down directly from my control. I can do it indirectly through things that are actually directly within my control. Good example would be like, I'm in control of how much I move. I'm in control of how much I eat. I'm in control of my habits around food. I'm in control of my sleep to some extent. I'm in control of the perspective and mindset I choose to take. I'm in control of how much water I drink each day. So all of those things, if we are consistent with those and we are set up with a plan that actually results in consistent and reliable weight loss, then we will see as a result, the scale go down. So that's why I think we should actually make, the goal, the things that are in our direct control, not in our indirect control. Because if the goal was really just to lose weight for the sake of losing weight, we could just chop your arm off. We could chop your foot off. We could starve ourselves and just not eat anything, right? And a lot of people will be like, yeah, I mean, I think most people, maybe not the starving ourselves, but most people would be like, that's obviously silly, right? That doesn't make sense. That's not what I'm trying to do. It's like, well, why not? If weight loss is the goal, why are you not doing that? It's like, well, because I whatever. And usually that's when you get to, I want to feel better about myself. I want to feel better in my body. I want to be able to sustain this weight loss long term. I want to be around for my kids and actually have the energy to play around with my kids. I want to fit into these clothes that I've had for a while, from 10, 15 years ago that I thought I would never be able to fit in again. And I really do believe I still can. It's like those are the things that we actually want, not the weight loss in and of itself. So I think that's an important perspective shift to make if you are someone who is in a weight loss journey, because otherwise you get caught up in this trap that is so common. It's like exactly the type of person that I was describing, where they say, I want, my goal this week is to lose this much on the scale. They're making this comment, based on a faulty premise that the goal is weight loss and that's it. At any, basically we need to lose weight no matter what. When really it's like, no, we need to lose weight in certain ways, in we want it to be healthy ways, and that can be a little bit different depending on the person. But we want to do it in certain ways because, again, the goal comes back to like, why do you want to lose weight in the first place? It's like those are the goals. We're trying to achieve these things. Do you know what I mean? So that's the important thing to understand. And if you slowly fall into this trap of being hyper obsessed and overly focused on the scale, and as much as the scale is massively important and it's a very important tool in the journey and the program that I use with my clients, but it's not the only tool, and it tells us a really important part of the weight loss picture, but it only tells us part of the picture. So we wanna learn to balance that in a healthy way, and not make that the absolute focal point of like, my end goal is to lose this much weight. And it sounds sexy. It's great for marketing. People like to tell their friends who are successful with it, or they want to hear from other people, how much weight did you lose or whatever. But really they should be asking like, how did your life improve? Like what benefits did you notice from this? How do you feel? How do you sleep? What do you notice about how you view yourself? And I think those are really like the benefits that we're after, which are a result of the weight loss. So, and then the weight loss is a result of all of those things that I previously described that are within our direct control, such as how much we're moving, how consistent we are with our workouts, how much water we drink, how much food we eat, how we eat our food, habits around our food, sleep to an extent, how consistent we are with our supplements if we're taking supplements, all of these things around our health and wellness that we have direct control of, we can use our hands to make a decision to or not to do that. Those should be the short-term goals that we would be looking to achieve, right? And I think that's just like, it's a more sustainable way at looking at the process, and it's a lot less exhausting because there's a quote I heard the other day, and it's a classic one, so you probably heard it. Something like, the man who enjoys walking will walk farther than the man who doesn't. Because, and what that's basically describing is enjoying the process, right? It's like if you actually enjoy the process, you'll actually go farther than the guy who doesn't enjoy the process, because they'll fall off, they'll quit eventually, and understandably so, because they don't like what they're doing. So this is the whole thing here, is like bring you back to a place where you can actually just enjoy the process and bring you back into the present of like, what can I actually do in these moments, in these short days, and what is within arm's reach of my own immediate control, because I will do my best to manage that, and then I have to just accept everything else, and what happens happens. You know what I mean? And I see this happen all the time with clients. I see it happen with myself. It's like, if I don't enjoy the process, I'm inevitably frustrated that I'm not farther along, or I'm not this, I'm not there yet, or I'm not as good as this person, or whatever it is. And I should be bringing that back to me and my own experience and my own process, because it goes back to that quote. It's like I'm starting to lose the love of the walking. Like if I can learn to love the walking, I'll be able to walk longer than anyone else that doesn't like it. I know they're going to quit at some point, but I know that I can be consistent for the rest of my life with something that I can find enjoyment in, I can find fun in, and I genuinely find fulfilling. So, yeah, that was from that. Hopefully you found that helpful. If you have your thoughts, I'd love to hear. I'd love to hear it. So, agree, disagree, drop it in the comments below. And if you want to subscribe to my emails, I send stuff like this out all the time, as well as like fat loss, nutrition tips, and training programs and things like that, training tips. I do it once a week. So if you want to subscribe to that, just send me a DM on Instagram at I am Tim Walcott, and I'll hook you up there. It's totally free. So you can unsubscribe at any time if it's not your flavor. But my goal there is to just provide value and just give away, just the wisdom and lessons that I have learned and I continue to learn through working with people full time on their fitness and on their weight loss in specifically. And as I take those things, I kind of have these thoughts of like, oh, this would be helpful. This would, conversations with clients that I have, case studies, and things like that. And I know that this world of, especially on the internet, but the whole fitness world can be very, very overwhelming. So trying to distill that down and give people like actual, clear, and effective advice on how to do these things, I think can go a long way. And this is one that's a little bit more kind of mindset focused. I had one that went out a few weeks ago when I was in Florida with my wife, Sam. And it was more about like offering a different perspective on motivation, which maybe I'll go into that one for an episode in the future as well, because that was kind of a totally different take that you may not have heard before. And I think it's an important one because that's also a common one that you hear from people is like, oh, I'm just looking for motivation. How do I get the motivation? That's the common one, right? That's the question. It's like, how do I get the motivation? And I was kind of offering a totally different approach as to why that question is the wrong question to ask. But that is an episode for another time. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Leave me a comment below. Like and subscribe to Stay Peaked if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, I would love it if you would go and share this to your social media, and then you can tag me on Instagram at I am Tim Walcott. And you can tag Stay Peaked, tag the podcast as well, and we'll repost you. If you have any questions about this stuff, go ahead and just DM me on Instagram, and I'd be happy to chat more. So thanks again for listening, and we'll talk to you later. Much love.